I just have to test my camera and, oh no, not my camera, my microphone. Hopefully you can hear me well. Um, Hello, Mr. Vandewater. I am Austin Buss, and I am doing a little presentation on ProPress. I say recently, meaning about 6 months ago, started doing HVAC work with my cousin. My cousin got me a job at a place called Century South Heating Appliance down on Genesee in Cheektowaga. And in my time since, I've got the pleasure of doing all kinds of things: furnaces, boilers, um, air conditioning systems, air handlers, a little bit of commercial, a little bit industrial, mostly residential. In that time, I have been around ProPress a lot, which I think is one of the coolest and most significant adjustments of technology to the real field work of HVAC for a long time, and I'm very excited to talk to you about it. Getting into it, you probably know what it is, but I'm gonna talk to you like you have no idea. Um, ProPress is a method of joining fittings with different type of tubings of the same material. So uh, it uses hydraulic pressure uh, to essentially mush the fitting into the copper and join them for uh, a permanent way to prevent leaking or anything like that. So you can use it for water, gas, anything like that, and it's super tight. It can handle up to 600 psi of water, up to 250 degrees Fahrenheit, and it can also handle, as far as air goes, 200 psi and 180 degrees Fahrenheit. And these fittings come in sizes of a half inch all the way up to 4 inches. So um, pretty. There's a lot of different types of fittings and stuff like that, and that is what I'm showing you here. There are, um, I think there's something like 35, 40 jaws in this picture, different ways to clamp different types of fittings, and that's really the cool thing about ProPress is that it is very versatile in its utility. You can do gas, you can do water, you can do air, and all you need is a different type of jaw, and there's no need for threading steel pipe anymore. You just use a mega press and you put it on there, and makes doing gas work way easier. So it's versatile, it saves you so much time, and I'll get into that in a little bit. And it's really pretty easy. About 10 minutes into watching my lead do it, a couple months into my job, and I was like, I can do that. A couple of questions. Who manufactures it? Primarily, Rigid has a contract with Vega, which is the manufacturer of the fittings that are used for this process. But all kinds of companies have made different tools to press these fittings. Milwaukee, DeWalt, and they all have different pros and cons, different battery voltages, different shapes. This one is a little easier to get into certain spots than these guys, so they have different pros and cons. But as far as the fittings go, Vega has the patent on them, and they have a couple things that make their fittings better. There is a specific a leak allowant inside the ring of the copper that allows, when being pressed, air and liquid to escape from the O-ring inside of the copper so that it forms a airtight seal. So Vega fittings are indeed the real deal. It does matter what fittings you use, and they are the primary source as far as that goes. So what's it like working with ProPress? It's fast and it's easy. It takes little to no time to pull the trigger and the clamps smush down on the ring on the fitting, and you hear click, and you are done. So it's pretty hassle free in comparison to sweating, which, obviously you have to use a butane, or some kind of torch, acetylene, to heat up your fittings and heat up your pipe, as well as solder and flux. And not only do the fittings need to be sanded, but the pipe needs to be sanded, and all those things need to be done in order to sweat those joints. Whereas with a ProPress, all you need to do is maybe deburr it, slide it in, and clamp it down, and the fitting stops it at the correct depth, and you're really good to go. You don't have to get a fire or a hot work permit, so you're fire free. And I think overall they're very, very consistent to work with. Um, Sometimes you have bad sweats, and a bad sweat on a boiler job could cost you a couple hours, because then you got to drain it. You got to drain the whole boiler if you want to get water out of the pipes. And with this, you don't have to heat up water inside the pipes. You could literally just clamp it down and repress it if you maybe forgot to press it, or any sort of situation like that. So easier to work with as far as that goes. Compared to the alternatives, ProPress is um, definitely easier. Shark bites are very easy as well, but as far as price goes, your boss isn't going to be too excited about you buying a bunch of shark bite fittings. Pretty sure this fitting can go for like $16. Um, so, these normal sweat fittings go for in the cents, maybe less than $1. So they're a very much cheaper option, but they take a lot more time to work with. Um, oh man. Oh, I thought my audio had gone for a second. Um, I think I'm good. Okay. Um, so ProPress is easy to use in all sorts of hold on, let me check this one moment. Testing, testing. All right. So I've used this in many contexts, as far as residential, as far as industrial or commercial. Uh, there's all kinds of circumstances in which ProPress is definitely the easier option and maybe the more cost-effective option. And that really is the big argument with ProPress. Um, I would like to say that it's worth it but in some circumstances it might not be. This Milwaukee tool here is $3,500, and that comes with 5 jaws, 5 different sizes, 2 batteries, and the machine, the charger, a case, and that's going to allow you to do most things, but that's not your Mega Press. That's not your other other jaws. So there is a little bit of a problem with the pricing. I mean, $3,500 for someone who's just doing work around the house is just not worth it. Um, However, it is definitely an option as far as saving labor when you're considering, you know, uh, having, employees having to get a boiler drained out and they have to sit there and watch it drain when they try to find a leak. And you got to pay them for that time. So, as far as, you know, a ProPress saving you as an employer from that cost, it definitely does that. The other thing is the Viega uh, fittings are also very expensive. You get into like a 2-inch ProPress elbow, a 90, and it's looking like $42 for that. So you definitely got to pay ProPress price if you want ProPress ease. It's definitely an easier way to do things. So sometimes it's worth it, sometimes it's not. However, it's really up to you as far as your value of time and how much you're paying your guys. So I guess what it really comes down to is, this has made a really big impact on my my experience as a employee. I've used this at least a couple times a week, every week for the last 6 months, and um, it is almost always a preference that I get to use ProPress as opposed to any sweating or anything like that. Um, so, in conclusion, I would say that this has made a very significant impact on our field and is going to continue to make an impact on our field. So, definitely something to be knowledgeable about, something to be aware of, and I'm very glad that I got to dive a little deeper into it. So thank you. Hopefully this recording came out well. It was a little difficult for me to get together screen recording software and get it to work with the presentation. I'm going to send you this presentation as a PDF, but uh, I like to do, a bit more of an, oral experience for my presentations. I love giving presentations. Um, and I guess I don't know if I'll be talking to you again before our time is done. So, if not, it's been a pleasure. Um, and have a Merry Christmas. Enjoy your holidays. Enjoy your January break. And maybe I'll have a class with you again in the spring. So, if that is the case, have a good one. Thank you. Bye bye.